Hi everybody, this is Ospreyeye from MyChartCoach.com, and we're going to take a look at ticker symbol SNAP. Congrats on the nice bounce on Friday, closed up 6%. We had posted a chart on Thursday showing that it was setting up for a bounce, and we did we showed the 15-minute chart, which I will show next. This is the daily chart, and so yeah, this is a really nice bounce. The candles are working back into the Bollinger Bands. You have RSI here at 40. You can see the uptick. One of the reasons why Snap was set up for the bounce was the close on Thursday below 20 on Fasto. It was at extreme oversold levels, and so you got this nice uptick. There was this bearish crossover on Thursday on 80X, and now you have a downtick on plus DI and a downtick on minus DI and an uptick on plus DI, reflecting the bounce. As you can see here, for a couple months, Snap had been trading in a sideways channel until the earnings were released on Thursday, and then there was this big gap down open, and you know, this is kind of a mirror reflection of the beginning of trading for Snap. Look over here at the IPO start. You know, there was this big gap up, and then there was a big drop followed by a gap down, and then this long sideways channel, and then now we have this big gap down followed by the candles working back into the Bollinger Bands, and so it looks like the candles should work their way back into this previous channel, and so currently what's going on is also another reason why we were thinking there was going to be a bounce on Friday. What was this candle forming on Thursday below the lower Bollinger Band? The lower Bollinger Band is a solid purple line, and so this candle floating well below the lower Bollinger Band was a signal that the candles would work their way back into the bands, and that happened on Friday. Notice the close was above the above the lower Bollinger Band, and now the next key moving average resistance level to break is EMA4 at 20.23. So that is our next target. That is if it can break through this 1950 to 20 resistance zone. As you can see here, this was the support level from back here in March, and so now that acted as resistance on Friday. You know, if it can get through this 1950, and then you're looking at this support levels from April, which the April 17th close, that's you know, right here below 20, and that is our next target. We're thinking this should at least test that 20. You got to keep in mind EMA4 is coming down, so EMA4 will be lower on Monday, and it should be around 20, and so that's going to be the key level to break. For downtrending stocks, EMA4 is always the big level to break. If you look back here, you notice how the candles were riding EMA4 resistance lower, and then once they closed above, they started this new uptrend, and so that could turn out to be a tough level for Snap to break if there's still going to be pressure on the stock. If you see a close above EMA4, that's going to be a very bullish development, and that's going to put EMA8 and the middle Bollinger Band back on deck. I mean, you know, thinking that what happened here with the big gap down, notice the huge volume bar. That was the largest volume since the IPO days, since the first 2 days of trading. What does that tell you? That people loaded heavy down here, and so they loaded big on the 17s. You know, the 1750 to 8. You know, I guess it didn't quite get to 1750, but you know, in the in the high 17s to 18 range, that was the big load zone for Snap. We think players took longer term positions there. That is going to be the key level to hold. If you see a break below 18, that's going to signal major downside risk. So that's really the big level to hold. Thinking the candles are going to work their way back into the bands. If EMA4 fails to break and turns into resistance, you could see 18 retested. If 18 gets retested on a pullback, then you could see the 17s back on deck. You know, I think that the chart is showing that the candles will at least test EMA4 on the daily chart. That will be the big level to break on Monday. If you look here at the 15-minute chart, this is the chart that we were going over the last couple of days, and these are the annotations from on Thursday, and so these are some of the reasons why we were thinking that it was due for a bounce. Notice how RSI was oversold. It was below the 30 line, and then if you notice here on the open, it crossed above 30, and that was a signal that it was in play. The bounce was in play. It broke this oversold range. Okay, so, and another thing with Fasto was oversold on Thursday, and once it broke above 20, and that was a signal that it was back, you know, heating back up, and then once it got back above 50, that was when it was really back in play. Okay, another thing that was telling us that the chart was setting up, notice that minus DI had crossed 80X to the downside. That was a signal that the bears were getting tired. Okay, notice how plus DI and minus DI are pinching here. Now once you got this bullish crossover here and the green line crossed the red and black lines to the upside, that was a signal that the bears had, or the bulls were back in charge. So once you had the green line above the black and red lines, that was your bullish signal. And so notice that that lines up right here when the stock started taking off. Okay, now the next thing that we were looking at was the big load candle. Okay, notice that this when there was this gap down, here's the trading on Wednesday, and then you have this big gap down open. This is a huge gap, top of the gap, bottom of the gap, and then notice the lower wick on the first candle, accompanied with this giant volume bar where over 22.5 million shares traded. And then this is actually the close up here. Okay, so the close was above. This is the open. Okay, so open down here in the 17s, ran all the way up here, and so that this is showing that there was major loading at this level. And we even posted that on Thursday, saying, look, this is the load. Big money loaded at the bottom. So when big money loads at the bottom, what does that mean? It means the share price is going higher. They have the money to take it higher, and that's exactly what happened. And then the other thing we're looking at were the tight Bollinger Bands. Notice how the Bollinger Bands were super wide, and they tightened, and then that was our signal that there was a move that was coming. And so this break above the middle Bollinger Band here was your signal that snap was going to be in play. And so once it turned this middle Bollinger Band into support, that was a signal the bounce play was in progress. What we were looking for was a move above the 50 simple moving average and the closing price at 11 o'clock. We stated all this before it happened. We were looking for a break above the closing price of 11. That would put the 50 SMA on deck. And what we did state as well is the 50 SMA was coming down fast. And so notice how the break above the 11 o'clock price and the 50 SMA was at the exact same time. Notice how this candle broke both levels at the same time. And so that was your signal that the chart was really strong and that there was more upside potential. And so you had this nice push up to 1950, the high of day, and then you had some profit taking into the close. Notice the last three candles were red, but it did hold above EMA 8 support and above the middle Bollinger Band with a close above the 50 simple moving average. Those are all signals saying there's more upside potential. That is putting our next target, which is the 100 simple moving average at 20.66 on deck. Keep in mind that 100 simple average is coming down. That's why we're thinking 20 is the next target. Okay, so that's where we're getting to 20, and we're, you know, that's, notice how 20 is going to be, this SMA is going to be coming down. It's going to be closer to 20 on Monday, and that, notice how that's going to be the same level as back here on EMA 4 on the daily chart. So that's the level to break, everybody. Yeah, you know, another thing that one more thing to show you that was showing us that the bounce play was setting up was, look at MACD. There was on Thursday on the 11th, there were bullish crossovers on the 8, 13, and 5 first because it signals first, and then on the 12, 26, and 9. Those were both signals that the chart was heating up. Okay, so yeah, and then another thing to look at is there was a PSAR bull flip at 11:45. Notice how the dots were above. Once they flip below, that was another bullish signal saying to jump in. These are all signals to load up, to have confidence that the bounce play is setting up. Okay, so yeah, and now we've got this bearish crossover on MACD on the 8, 13, and 5. That needs to stay back above. The 12, 26, and 9 is still bullish, so that is good. If that crosses over, that's going to be a red flag. It did close up here with the PSAR bear flip. Notice how the green dots flipped above the candles. They're going to need to flip back below in order for you know, to have another bullish signal. We don't want to see PSAR dots staying above the candles. They're only at 1950, so once the share price breaks 1950, the dots would flip back below. Okay, so yeah, and then just to throw in another resistance line here. So the key level to break is going to be right here on Monday, and you're going to want to see a break above this level right here at 3 o'clock. The closing price at 3 o'clock is going to be the key level to break. I know there's a ton of circles there and it's very hard to see, but you get the point. Okay, congrats to everyone. If you'd like to learn more about charts and technical analysis, and please come check out our website at mychartcoach.com. Join us in our chat. We like to teach during the trading day. You know, this was all being explained live as the chart was setting up. We were discussing it in the chat, so if you'd like to join us, please come. And also you can check out the videos on YouTube on mychartcoach.com. Thank you.